okay, weird. I know, and that's where I screamed. Like, it was bad. This was supposed to be posted in time for Mother's Day. Better late than never. Welcome back to my channel. I've taken over a year off for various reasons, but today's video is about something super exciting that happened not too long ago. I became a mama. I gave birth to my baby boy, and I had planned for a home birth, a home water birth to be exact. And I am answering all questions about that today because a lot of people were interested in it when I told them that I had given birth at home. When I was exploring my options, I would also watch videos just like this one of other women who have gone through it, and it significantly helped me be more confident with my decision to deliver at home. Not too long ago, I had posted an Instagram Q&A on my story. So if you see me looking down, I'm just literally just reading the questions. Everybody's experience is different at the end of the day, but the more you know, the more you can potentially prepare for. All things water birth related, all things to hopefully, if you're a mama or a soon-to-be mama or just curious. Like, I've had some male family members also so curious about the process, and you know, a lot of them were really worried that I was gonna be in a hospital if something goes wrong. But you know, once you educate, everybody's nerves feel better. So if you're a mama or mama-to-be especially, this one's for you. And I hope you feel empowered after this video, and just know that you can also do the same. You have these options, and as long as you prepare mentally, physically, you'll be fine. Even if you don't prepare, your body's meant to do this. Okay, you're gonna be fine. Okay, let's get right into it. So the first question, how long was I in labor for? So I was in early labor the evening prior, around 7:30 is when I started to feel the cramps, and I knew, so I started to do the same prenatal yoga ball exercises that I would do every day in my third trimester, just to make sure baby is in position and down there and ready. Mind you, he was head down. He was ready to pop out from the time I entered second trimester. He was head down the entire pregnancy, so lots of pelvic pain. Anyway, so I did my stretches the same way just to make sure he's in optimal position and to get labor going and hopefully fast progressing. I did not want to be in a long labor. Active labor began around 3 a.m. I was in active labor for 3 hours, including 50 minutes of pushing. I started, once again, active labor. I started around 3 a.m. and baby was born at 6:13 a.m. and I started pushing at around 5:20ish a.m. Okay, so the next question is, how did you prep and where did you get the pool? Starting around, I think it was when I entered third trimester or maybe a little bit into third trimester, my midwives gave me a list of what I would need to pack for both the home birth supplies as well as in case I needed to be transferred to a hospital. So I needed a hospital bag, a hospital list as well. So yeah, the midwives gave a list of things I would need to prepare for home birth and a hospital, and I just followed that list, and I just had it all in a little bucket. I gave birth in my living room, so it was just in the little corner in the living room, ready for them. And I had that prepared 2 weeks prior to my due date, just in case baby came early. I didn't just go by that list. I also watched other women's videos on, you know, TikTok, YouTube, on what they packed labor delivery bags. I liked to look at second time moms or third time moms because when you're a first time mom, you tend to overpack, right? Because you don't know what to expect, it's normal. So I just wanted to hear from somebody who has done it before and knew the essentials versus what they didn't really need. So that helped me. My packing was, I'm an overpacker, but my packing for labor and delivery, both the home bag and the hospital bag, was very minimal. It was honestly one little duffel bag. Okay, so one of the questions was, how did you know when to call the midwives, or when did you call the midwives? The midwives told me beforehand, prior to, at like one of my last appointments leading up to delivery, that I should call when I'm in active labor. So I ended up calling them actually a little before active labor, just to let them know I'm in early labor and it was progressing, and I knew I was gonna approach active labor soon because the contractions were getting stronger and closer together. They told me once my contractions are super strong where I won't be able to speak, give them a call, and they will kind of make the call based off of questions they asked me over the phone at the time and see where I am at and make the decision of when they should come. Which I know sounds a little scary or risky or nerve-wracking for a first-time mom, because I'm like, what if you guys don't make it in time though? Like, what if I'm not answering your questions super accurately and I'm further along than you think, and da-da-da. But they're very experienced. They've gone through a million births and they know what they're doing, and everything worked out. So I had called them around a little after 3 a.m. and they had told me to just keep monitoring the contractions and time them. And once they've been consistently strong and consistently only 3 to 4 minutes apart maximum for an hour, the duration of an hour, then to give them a call again. So that happened right away. And so around 4 a.m. I called them and I let them know it's been going on for an hour, consistently back to back, boom, boom, boom. And they showed up about 45 minutes after that. And yeah, I was already in the pool by the time they showed up because I wanted to be in the pool by the time obviously they got here. Okay, so next question. What are the midwives qualified to do versus a nurse if you were to deliver in the hospital? As long as it's a normal pregnancy delivery, they can do everything. They stitched me up. They obviously delivered the baby. They know what to do. It's just when there's abnormalities or an urgent situation that requires further, like a doctor, then you need to be transferred to a hospital. So one thing that I wanted my baby to get was the RSV vaccine, which they give right after you give birth in a hospital if you would like it. Like, the nurses can do it. However, midwives cannot do it at home birth. So that was something I had to book about a week after. So when he was about 7 days, then he got his RSV vaccine at a clinic. Okay, next question is, did I tear? And I got that question because water birth is supposed to minimize tearing. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to do it also, because I was terrified of tearing. This whole pregnancy, like, I was not even scared of delivering the baby, like pushing the baby out. I was scared of tearing. Although I did a water birth, although I did perineal massages all throughout my 3rd trimester and during an active labor in the pool, and even though I drank okra water every single day after about 32 weeks pregnant, your girl still tore. Apparently that's normal for a first-time mom. It was a 2nd-degree tear, so thank goodness it was no muscle involved. I think they said I had a tear in like 3 or 4 different spots, which sounded weird to me because I'm like, why isn't it just like one tear? Like, why do I have multiple? Regardless, I had a few tears and they just had to stitch me up in some areas with no number. Next question. This was a popular question also. What if you poop in the water? How do you keep the water clean the whole time or sanitary for the baby's arrival? So I personally did not poop in the water. It's pretty common while you're going through labor, like early and active labor, that you'll have diarrhea. It's just normal. I also had vomiting, and so everything was empty. I think that's a natural process that God made happen for us, to empty our bowels, empty everything to allow the baby to pass through smoothly. The midwives did tell me that if it were to happen, they have all the tools necessary to clean it out. And when I did my own research, it just looks like a little strainer, basically, and it just, boop. Otherwise, it's all natural bodily fluids that your baby has been exposed to anyway. Amniotic fluid from your water break-in, blood, things like that. So they will come out into the water that's filled with all of that stuff, but they've already been exposed to it, so it's fine. And once that baby's out, the midwives quickly take him out. How was recovery? Right after being stitched up, I was able to walk upstairs to my bed, and I took a shower shortly after that, and I was okay. There was just like, my whole body felt sore right after, for the first like 24 hours after, because it went through a lot. My body was in shock. Like, even getting out of the pool, the water, I was literally shaking so much. Like, it was bad, my shakes, because your body, is in shock. You just went through something so traumatic. and it was doing a lot of work. Recovery, like after the first like 4-ish days, the soreness basically went away. I was still obviously moving slow, but the first week was the worst. And then after that, I was like chilling. I was just, you know, I was doing postnatal exercises to help with my pelvic floor recovery and my core recovery. So I started doing that after 1 week every day. It was only like maybe 30 minutes of it to prevent like diastasis recti and things like that. Like her recovery was very smooth and fairly quick, and yeah. Okay, so one of my favorite questions is, what did I do for pain management? The answer is nothing, okay? I prayed. My midwife told me that during early labor, I can take Advil or Tylenol to help with the pain, the cramping, but once active labor starts, it's not going to be very helpful. That is why I just decided not to even bother. I didn't take anything. It's all natural, baby, when you do a home birth. But this is why I chose a water birth, because water is supposed to act as nature's epidural. I felt every single thing. I felt everything, okay? So I was not numb from the waist down. I didn't expect to be, obviously, I'm just joking. But like, I don't know if I wasn't in the water, would it be a lot more painful? I don't know that because I was in the water the whole time. I will say that during like the first half of my active labor, I was in the shower, actually, like on my hands and knees, like on all fours. I was letting the shower, the water was just beating down on my back, and that was really helping me get through the contractions. When I wasn't in the shower, it was a lot worse. So water was helping, or the pressure, I guess, was helping the combination, and it was hot water. I was in there for a good like 40 minutes, and then I made my way to the pool, and I honestly wish it was a jetted pool or something, because I didn't think it was helping as much. The next question is, what was the pain on a scale of 1 to 10? I don't really know how to answer this, because like this isn't like a sharp pain or anything. It's just very, 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 very intense pressure. The only time I felt actual sharp pain was when I was getting stitched up afterwards. Like during my contractions, it was just like, it's just a really intense pressure, like a really intense big poop that you're trying to push out. That's really the best way to describe it. Of course, when baby was crowning, there was a burning sensation. It still wasn't like pain. It was just like burning, because that's when your vagina is stretched to the max, where the head is just there. I think what helped me a lot was that all the women I spoke to before this in my family, and just close friends who have given birth before, they had told me they felt like they were going to die during labor and delivery. So I was preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. So when I was actually going through it myself, I was like, I don't feel like I'm gonna die. So maybe it's not that bad. Which is strange, because my pain tolerance, ask anybody who knows me well, my pain tolerance is very low. Okay, I hate pain, I don't like it, I'm a baby. I read this somewhere, it's different when it's a productive pain. Like basically when it's pain that I know is supposed to be happening in order for a natural process to occur. Like it's productive pain. The pain that I was experiencing during contractions, the pressure I was experiencing, was so that I can meet my baby. My body was doing what it was supposed to do. So that I can handle. I don't like pain that is not supposed to happen, like a broken finger, a cut, a pinch, a punch. Those are things that I'm not supposed to go through. Labor, delivery, I was made for this. It's productive pain. I know I'll be fine. And yeah, so the most painful part was being stitched up afterwards, and that's only because there were some areas that they couldn't numb. So I was being stitched up down there in my delicate area with no numbing in some areas, just straight needle going in and out. And thinking about it again now, that's where I screamed. Okay, I had to put baby to sleep, but I'm back now. A little bit of an outfit change, because if you know, you know. Okay, so next question. What was something that happened that surprised you the most? This is a good one. One thing that did surprise me was the way my water broke. So So by the time I got into the pool, it was around like 4:40-ish, 4:45, and my water still hadn't broken yet. So I was like, how will I know now, being in the water, when my water breaks? Because I also heard that it can be a gush, which of course I would feel, but then I also read that it could just be like a trickle that like trickles out of you, and it doesn't have to all come out at once. It can come out over a duration of time. So I'm like, okay, if it's the trickle, water breaking, and I apologize if you hear like water upstairs. So yeah, I was like, if it's the trickle, like how am I gonna feel this if I'm already in water? My water breaking sounded like the pop of a balloon. Like it sounded like a water balloon went boop. Like we literally heard. Okay, my lip gloss is not doing it very effectively, but like it like surprised me. And then my husband was like, whoa. And I'm like, whoa. And my midwives were like, yeah, your water just broke. And I'm like, okay, weird. And it turned the water like a lightish red color. And I'm like, oh, okay, baby's coming soon. Nothing else really surprised me. Next question. Has this experience changed your association with / perception of being in water? This is actually a very good question. So I actually haven't been in water since delivering Elias, but I do anticipate that being in water will remind me of my birth experience because of how significant that part of delivery was, being in the water. Even when I look at him sometimes, I'm like, I really gave birth to you in a pool. And I always say to him like, oh, you're going to be a water baby. You're gonna love the water because you're born in water. That water will always connect us. Next question. Did you prepare in case you did not like being in the water? And the answer is yes. I had the pull-out bed next to me that was covered in case I decided to come out at any point and deliver outside of the water. Because I read that some women choose to labor in the water, but then deliver dry outside of the water. I wanted to stay in the water. I knew beforehand I wanted to stay in the water to deliver for the main purpose that it could help reduce the risk of tearing being in the water to deliver. So I wanted to stay in the water, and I did stay in the water, but I was prepared just in case I was like, this is not for me, I'm over it. Actually, when I first got in the pool, like 15 minutes in, it took a while to adjust. I was like, because I was going through, obviously the contractions were so hard, it was making me sweat. I was like sweaty in there. I was like, so the fan was on me, and then I got really cold because the parts of my body that weren't in the water were getting cold because the fan was on. And then I would, like my poor husband, he would have to turn the fan away again. And then I would get hot again. So it was just an adjustment for a little bit. And then finally my body temperature was controlled and I was okay in the water. But like the first little bit, it's just about finding like where you need the fan, if you need a fan, if you're really hot, and all of that. It was just, yeah. Next question. How did you keep the water at a good temperature? So I actually bought an immersion water heater from Amazon, and I had filled the pool up a week before, and then I covered it with like a plastic shower curtain I bought from the dollar store. I kept it covered so that no bugs or big pieces of debris or anything would fall into the water. I kept it covered, and every day I would heat it to about 35-ish degrees Celsius or 40, and then I would just leave it there just in case. And I also had a floating thermometer that I kept in the pool at all times so that I could always read the temperature. So when it came to my actual like delivery, when I was in early labor, we turned on the immersion heater to heat it 40 degrees Celsius, and then turned it off, and it stayed perfect temperature for my delivery. I forgot the exact range that the water should be for the baby. Yeah, it stayed fine because my labor was, thank God, fairly short. I was only in the water for about an hour and maybe 15 minutes, or an hour and a half, something around there. And it stayed at an ideal temperature the entire time. Okay, so the next question is, how did you book the water birth, and what were the costs for the water birth? I'm going to answer these together because they kind of go hand in hand. So when I decided I wanted to do a home birth and I needed a team of midwives to do so, that's covered by the government in Ontario, Canada. If you have OHIP, well, what I did, I Googled midwives near me, and it brought me to Midwives of Brampton and Halton Hills, MOVHH, for anybody in the Brampton area that's interested. I had Team 7, which was Mojgan, Brianna, and Zara. Fantastic ladies, very educated. I felt so safe with them, so comfortable with them. They were an amazing team, and I would want them again for the next babies. I highly recommend, 10 out of 10. When I decided I'm doing a home birth, I immediately, because I knew that sometimes there's a wait time and you may or may not get independent. When I found Midwives of Brampton and Halton Hills, I applied online, and then they got back to me through an email saying that they can accept me only a couple weeks afterwards. And then they just schedule all the phone calls they need. So that's how I got started with the whole home birth process and finding my midwives. And then when I told them I want to deliver in water, I told them from like the very beginning. They're like, okay, perfect. Well, we will get to that closer to delivery. We didn't actually start talking about the whole water thing until I was like probably the beginning of 3rd trimester, only because I asked them like if they have any recommendations on where to buy the pool from. You can rent or you can buy the pool. So the only cost associated with the home water birth is the pool that you get. Some choose to rent, which is cheaper, not by much. I found the average was around $200, $250 to rent the birth pool. And if you wanted to buy, they were around $400 Canadian CAD. So I wanted to buy because, God willing, I want to have more children and I want to use the same pool and keep that as my little birth pool. So I just Googled and I found Birth Pools by Grace. Shout out to her, because not only was the pool amazing and very durable and all the features are very thoughtful, like handles, cup holders, but the team I was messaging and going back and forth with about the pool, very pleasant, very sweet, and I wanted to support a fellow Canadian girl. So I'm glad I got to support a local small business, and I bought my pool from her. It was around $400, around 450 CAD. After tax, everything came to almost 500 CAD because I also bought the floating thermometer from her and the liner. So yeah, the only cost associated is the pool. The midwives are covered by OHIP, and the pool cost is dependent on you, what pool you want, if you want to rent it or buy it and whatnot. So only spend almost like about $500 on that. Okay, and the final question is, would I do it again? I'm already planning the next one. God willing, I am a low-risk pregnancy for the other one or ones, and I'm able to do the same. And I recommend it for anybody thinking of it. Give it a try. In worst case scenario, you can just be transferred to the hospital if you're hating your experience. I meant to say this in the beginning. The main reason I chose this route is because when you are in labor and you are getting ready to deliver your baby, one of the most important factors for a smooth, successful, and it helps speed up the process, even delivery, is that your body is relaxed and you're not tense. And I knew being in a hospital setting, everything's so sterile and smelling like hospital, and possibly hearing other mamas in the labor and delivery ward screaming their heads off, that would just freak me out and cause me to be anxious, and my body would not be as relaxed, and I knew it just would not be setting myself up for success. I knew that being in the comfort of my own home, surrounded by my support system, would make me feel most at peace, and it definitely did. And that is why I would choose to do this again. So that's all. That was all about my home water birth experience. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any further questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Feel free to share this with a friend who's curious or a family member who's curious whether they're pregnant or not. And I hope it helps educate and empower you or them, or whoever sees this, to try it out for yourselves and see how it goes.